It's time for us, Nuance, to do our version of the Arrietty review. And I just want to state from the beginning, we're going to do this review because it seems like we got a different way of seeing this anime than everyone else. Because I haven't heard a lot of people have our point of view on this, so I think we got something unique to share on this. Yeah, no? Yes, no?
Yeah, man. I think so. I think it's gonna be fresh and new. How about that?
Yes, fresh and in your face, and
in your
hopefully...
face, poke in your eye.
All right, man. So let's do this systematically. Let's talk about just a quick trivia. Arrietty is made obviously by Studio Ghibli, as you all should know by now. This movie wasn't directed by Hayao Miyazaki, like the majority. Is actually written by him. Who actually directed this one, you want to say?
Right. The director is Hiromasa Yonbayashi. I hope I said that right, but if I didn't, I know you guys will forgive me. So there you go.
Of course, we'll forgive you.
Yeah.
Now, this is his first solo directing, task.
Yeah.
Before he'd been a collaborator, but now this is his time to shine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So this is, a lot of people are pointing that out that, Hayao Miyazaki, he didn't direct this one, but he wrote it.
Yeah, he did.
And that'll come up later. Let's talk about the animation of Arrietty first. And I just want to say, this is the thing I feel that people are getting just too sucked up into, because to me, Studio Ghibli's anime is always of a high quality. It's always of a high quality. And in Arrietty, they don't use the animation to do anything special. It's just typical, beautiful, but typical Studio Ghibli animation not being used. Whereas another anime, it is being used much to, almost every other Ghibli, I've seen it being used to the perfect effect. And, just to be fair, even an anime like Grave of the Fireflies or Whisper of the Heart, where there's no magicalness going on,
yeah,
I still found this to be rather disappointing and bland in that respect. What did you think?
Yeah, I felt that obviously the animation was beautiful, as mostly all Ghiblis are. But I just felt that I didn't really get the sense of adventure that I thought that in the animation that I felt that it could have got, really. So yeah, obviously I just thought it was just a general Ghibli beautifully animated movie.
Yeah. And it seems like the mass people watching this, that obviously they're from Disney, because this is distributed by Disney, they don't see a lot of anime. So when they see this, non-Pixar 2D animation style, they really appreciate it. And I don't blame them. But any ordinary loyal Studio Ghibli fan of anime is used to this.
Indeed.
It doesn't impress me. I need you to do what you do. Studio Ghibli are known for using animation to suck you in. Think of Spirited Away. Think of Ponyo. Think of taking the ordinary and making it extraordinary,
Exactly.
I just didn't feel that I thought this anime, to my utter surprise, did nothing with the animation, and that, I don't mean to be harsh, but that's how I felt.
I think it could have done much more than it did, because you're looking at, we could have seen the Boras, their world in a whole new way, because it is obviously just a house and a garden. But, usually with Studio Ghibli, like you say, they really push the boundaries to make you feel like you've really been sucked into this world and you've actually become a part of the world, a part of the character's world. And I just felt like I was let down by that in this.
I mean, before, you were talking about Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, right?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Like, I'm sure that everybody can remember Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And the fact that, that was just set in a garden, but you had such a strong sense of adventure. I remember when it rained and, the raindrops and how dangerous they are, and, things that made you feel like you wanted to be part of that, and I just felt like with Arrietty, it could have kind of reminded you of like when you were a child, like being young, like like when you used to run around in the house and play hide and seek and try and find different like nooks and crannies to hide in. I felt that Arity could have explored that part of a house and the garden more, and it could have really sucked me in. But I just felt like it just left me, lacking. I just felt like I didn't get anything out of it apart from obviously what I did see was beautiful, but it was just standard Ghibli beautiful, like you said, and it didn't push any boundaries for me. It didn't make me feel like I wanted to be in that place, in that world.
Yeah, very, very, very disappointing in that respect. Let's move on to the sound. Now, the most perplexing thing about this, okay, I have to go slightly off topic and say, Arity was originally released in 2010 in Japan, and only now in 2012 is it getting a theatrical, don't think I said that right, release. And there's two English dubs. There's a British one, there's an American one. Why?
I didn't get that at all. I didn't understand it at all.
My only conclusion for that is because The Borrowers is originally a British adaptation. They thought that the British might come better or might succumb better to a British dialect.
What, like
the problem?
Cast?
I don't see how that would work when the storyline isn't going to be any different in English, and they're both the same language. The dialect isn't. Man.
Not only that, but
anyway,
why didn't they just stick? If they wanted it to be English, why did they need to then do a US version? It makes no sense.
I don't know, and you know what? I don't research it. I don't. A lot of people are perplexed. I'm perplexed. I'm not even going to bother research it because I don't know. It actually, I do know that the dub for the. Sorry, to correct myself. The Arity is distributed by two different companies. In England, it's distributed by a different company than in America. Yeah, so actually that's the reason why. But anyway, let's actually talk about the voice actors. You saw the American version, the American dub, and I saw the UK dub. So tell me what you thought of the American dub.
I was disappointed once again with the American dub. I felt like some of the voice actors were just terrible, especially Arity's father, who was played by Will Arnett.
That's right, yeah.
Pod is his name. I mean, Will Arnett, as people know, is an actor and a comedian. He was in Arrested Development, 30 Rock, and I just could not get over how boring and mundane his voice was. Like, literally, I wanted to shoot myself. Like, if I said to somebody, if I said to someone I want to kill myself, and then they played his voice or put him on the phone with that voice, he would not. There would be no two ways about it. I'd be jumping out that window.
Yeah, but there's a problem. There's a problem with your little, what you're saying there. You know what the problem is?
What's the problem?
You ain't seen the UK version. Because I can tell you right now, yeah, fucking Mark Strong is worse. Mark Strong is the UK dad pod for the Arity UK dub. And it is so fucking bad, it's unbelievable. You know what, usually, when we do these reviews, I don't really take the time out to talk about voice actors. But I have to tell you, nuance, Mark Strong was awful as Arity's dad. You thought Will Arnett was bad? You ain't heard Mark Strong. And I actually went on YouTube and I watched a clip of Arnett, and it was like a breath of fresh air compared to fucking Mark Strong. So you want to jump out and win? I don't know what you would do if you watched that version.
Well, but I ain't gonna watch that version. Do you know what I mean? No. Because to tell you the truth, I was nearly on death's door watching this version. So with his voice, so that's never gonna happen.
Boy.
I mean, how could they get it wrong on both sides of, what I mean? How could that be so wrong? His voice was terrible.
All right, so I'm looking at IMDb, and I can see for Arity, you got Bridget Medler. Who the hell is this girl? I'm not going to look. I just, I think she's a newbie or whatever. If I'm wrong, so what? But how do you feel about Arity's voice?
Yeah, her voice didn't bother me at all. She was fine. Didn't really bother me. I thought her voice was... I mean, to tell you the truth, all the voices, it seemed like they told all the voice actors to just act like you're depressed, act like you're having a bad day, girls, act like you've got, you're having, problems, and guys act like this is the worst day of your life, because that's exactly how it felt with all the voices, except for Arity's mum.
Okay.
I felt that she was the only one that brought any kind of life into the anime, really. She was comedic. She is comedic anyway.
Is her name Homily?
Yes, it is.
So that's ain't for you. That's Amy Pohela.
She's actually married to Will Arnett, which is quite funny. She's
Are
a
you joking?
comedian. Yeah. Oh God.
They're married.
Yeah,
They
they're
actually were married, and they
I
played
told
married
you.
people in anime.
Yeah, yeah, they're married.
I
Do
didn't
you
know
remember
that.
that film, Baby Mama?
Yeah, of course I do. Yeah,
Shit, that's her.
that film was hella funny.
That is her, and you heard her voice. She's funny.
People, before you jump me about Baby Mama, the reason why I said it was funny is because Steve Martin was in it. Okay, just to emphasize. But sorry to to go off.
He
Go
was
on, you
funny.
want to-
Anyway, yeah. So she been on Saturday Night Live, blah blah blah. Very, very funny. Her voice is very, very funny, and now she's on Parks and Recreation, which is a series. Anyway,
That's a good pick actually. I think that's a good. I think that's a good pick for her then.
yeah. I mean, I thought she was comedic. I enjoyed her. She was very true to the Homer in the books. Pardon me. She's very close to that, and I thought she was funny, and she was slightly neurotic, and she was like the ray of sunshine. You know what I mean? It's like I was about to drop off, and then I heard her voice, and I leaned back for 5 minutes, and I jumped anyway. But
Well, okay. Let me quickly go through the British cast as well because I didn't really enjoy the British dub at all. I don't really have much to say. Arrietty British was fine, and her name is Saoirse Ronan.
Ronan, yeah.
And apart from that, and her dad being the most worst voice actor in anime I've heard to date, I've got nothing to say. I watched the American clips on YouTube. People, if you're listening, don't watch the UK dub of Arrietty. It's shit. We'll just watch the American one. All right?
Oh shit! You know that girl was in Hannah. She played Hannah.
Yeah, I did vaguely know that. Yeah, actually, yeah.
I didn't
I
know.
think I actually made myself forget that.
I can understand why, but I just needed to see who she was. But yeah, go on.
She's not even Brit. Are you joking?
She's not British, no.
She's not even British anyway. She's American.
How did that voice go on then? How was that?
They cast American. They had an American dub, and they had a British dub. And for the British dub of Arrietty, they got an American to do. You know what? Let's move on.
Well,
to the next Let's move on to the characters and the character development, yeah, because I'm starting to get upset, right? Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about the two main characters in Arrietty, which is Arrietty herself and Sho, or if you're in America, you can call him Sean, because they decided to rename him.
There's nothing really much that I can say about Sean. They said he had a heart condition and he acted like he had a heart condition, and that was it, really. That may be harsh, but it's true. Obviously, they tried to create a kind of love connection between both Arrietty and Sean, and that's fine, I guess. I mean, it didn't really add or subtract from the anime itself. I was still bored when I was watching him. In regards to Arrietty, I was very disappointed with her as a character because I'm a lover of the books.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
We got one of them. The book is better than the movie. People now. Oh shit.
And I'm just going to say that's the reason why I am more attached to this, or it's because I am a lover of the books, and I did watch the series over here when it was over here. I know it was in America as well. And so I was very disappointed with Arrietty as a character because she's supposed to be a very strong female character. And we all know how I like my strong female characters, yeah. And she was kind of feeble, and she wasn't adventurous. She wasn't really what I believe that she is in the books and stuff like that, in the books and in the series.
Well. You see, this is where I kind of disagree with you a bit because I thought I did see that element of her being curious and wanted to break free, but I felt it was more to do with the writing that made her character worse anyway.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I'm slightly biased because obviously I'm remembering her from the books and the series, and as it is based on the Boras, that's the reason why I'm actually saying I'm slightly disappointed with her as a character.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I'll say about it, really. I guess in a way I can see what you're saying. She did actually go on one adventure with her dad, her first one, and then she did leave the house. But to tell you the truth, if she didn't leave that house, we wouldn't have seen anything. Do you see what I mean? If she didn't go out once in a while, we wouldn't have seen anything. So yeah. So that's really all I'll say about those two. What did you think?
I thought the relationship between Arity and the boy was handled the most poorly of all because these are your two main central characters. Now, I want to stress that, I pointed out that you might be one of those book people, but I haven't read the book. So I feel like I can be more biased about it anyway. More unbiased about it. And the relationship was terrible. I mean, I didn't feel chemistry at all. I know how can a giant have chemistry between a small person anyway, but it was written so poorly. But individually, Arity, I didn't mind. Arity, she had what I wanted her to have. A sense of adventure, a sense of wanting to be free. But her mum and dad were bland, so that didn't help. The boy was the most poorly written person in the whole damn film to me. He had a heart condition, and he seemed very depressed and kind of pessimistic to me. They had a scene that one of my favorite scenes in the anime was, I know this is even a bit sadist of me to say this, is a scene where he's talking to Arity in the garden, and he's kind of teasing her about how she's probably an endangered species and how she's probably the only one left. And, and he's saying this with a smile. And it takes him so long to wake up and realize he's actually being horrible.
I think he wasn't really. You say he's saying it was smart. I just thought he was saying it nonchalantly. He was just saying, "Oh, you're probably the last people on."
Well, maybe I don't know. I felt like he was reveling in the fact that we outnumber you. Us humans, there's thousands of us, and guess what? There's probably only two of you. I was like, what the fuck is this? Is this a joke? And then 10 minutes later, oh, I'm sorry. Did I hurt your feelings?
I think they were trying to play on the fact that he was dying.
That's what I think, of course. And I just thought, that's still too spiteful. That's way, way too spiteful to do something like that. So anyway, and not spoiling the end or anything, I felt like they tried to give you this emotion at the end, which is totally unjustified because they didn't build the character. The situation, there wasn't a situation to warrant those emotions. Period. So yeah, the characters, I thought individually they were missing things, and in scenes together, it was just didn't fit for me. So the whole thing was just mishandled as characters. Disappointed. Utterly disappointed.
I mean, I do want to mention Arity's dad pod because I found him. I mean, I know we did go over his voice, but him as a character was really boring as well. I just felt like he had no sense of adventure as well, and he was just like really not. He just seemed like he just didn't enjoy his life, didn't enjoy being. It made me feel like it was sort of a curse to be a borrower than like fun and enjoyable. Just made me feel like
it's funny you should bring that up because I don't want to spoil it again, but there's a time where the father is considering whether they have to move or not because of a situation, and he's just so nonchalant about it. He's not emotional, so stoic. He's just so boring. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? Feel something. Feel pissed off. No, we might have to move, Nah, we might not have to. You know what we do. You know what we don't.
Yeah. I was just like, I don't even know how she even turned out the way she did because they just made me seem, as characters, it just made me I didn't feel a sense of adventure. I just felt sorrowful. I felt sad for them, like it was a curse.
Well, since we've gone on about this, let's just wrap this up. We'll go, when we talk about the storyline in itself now. You know, I think before we try to, like, in the past, I think we tried to talk about this amongst ourselves. When you think of, in terms of storyline for Arrietty, there really isn't a storyline. They just seem like, the borrowers, let's just call Arrietty and her family the borrowers for now. They're just trying to survive in their little world, which is our world, but, hidden. They hide away, they steal, aka borrow things from us that we wouldn't even notice are gone. And, the boy is dying. So you're expecting, in terms of storyline, I'm expecting certain things to happen, like maybe a romance, maybe a tragedy, maybe a revelation about the borrowers, about maybe there's more of them. None of that is explored. They lift it up and put it back down, and then nothing's resolved. You're there for 5. I just felt like you walk past this big scene and you walk away. The storyline is just poorly written, really, really poorly written, and nothing really happens. There's so much dead space in the anime. I mean, this goes back to Studio Ghibli. I'm going to have to go a little bit on a rant on Studio Ghibli here, because when you look at something like Grave of the Fireflies, again, it's not magical. It isn't, taking you to another world, but you feel the connection between the two characters, the brother and sister, and they have certain scenes that are beautiful. Scenes of them in a cave, scenes of them looking at fireflies, scenes of them just being together. In Arrietty, you expect that. You expect that because they're small, they have a vision of seeing things in a different way. And because it's a Studio Ghibli, the masters of making the ordinary amazing, you expect something spectacular. But instead you get nothing. I got absolutely nothing out of this. And even people that I know love the anime, they come out saying, yeah, that was kind of, it was good, but it was kind of bland. But for me, I was utterly bored. The storyline, and I can't believe Hayao Miyazaki actually wrote this, adapted this from something that was already written well.
Yeah.
And to me, he did nothing with it. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, so, he did something to it. He watered it down to the point of non-existence because...
Yeah, I agree.
Literally, when you read, they acted like... In the book, yeah, and I'm going to go to the book. Sorry, people, I've got to go to the book, yeah. It's a family. There's an uncle, there's an aunt, there's a sense of adventure, that this is their life and they make it fun. In the anime, it's like they're sheltered, like a sheltered family of 3, and it's like they're living some cursed life. And it just feels like they can't move, they can't go anywhere, and God forbid anybody ever see them, they're going to be killed or whatever they think is going to happen.
They're paranoid.
Yeah, extremely paranoid, and it makes them, it takes away all of the adventure, all of the joy and enjoyment that would have been there because of the storyline. And it's unforgivable because, the borrowers, we're not talking about one book. This is a series, of 4 books. And I just don't understand that out of these 4 books came this adaptation, which to me does not pay homage to it at all. And
yeah.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, I was at the end of what you're gonna say, but I'm not gonna say it now. I didn't think I'd ever say this, but I have no doubt in my mind that I wish Disney handled this on their own, because I think just Disney would have done a way better job than Studio Ghibli on this. Period.
I mean, I'm sorry, Ants is more adventurous than this.
Yeah, it is, and it's the same kind of concept. Funny enough, you should bring it up. Yeah,
it is the same concept. It's much more adventurous, it's much more funny than this. And we're talking about ants in a friggin' anthill. You're talking about little humans in a house.
We're talking about Woody Allen being an ant.
We're talking about human beings in a freaking house and a garden.
How could you do that, Nuance? That's such a horrible comparison. God, I said I didn't like it, but damn, you're comparing it to ants now.
What can I say? When they nearly drowned in that raindrop, it was funny.
No, you didn't, man.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
And I actually totally 100% agree with you, man. sorry all you fanboys out there, but storyline, I can't believe Hayao Miyazaki wrote this. I can't believe that rewrote this.
You know what?
And,
I just wonder if he just took one chapter. It's just so watered down. I just don't understand. I want to understand. I wanted to give it a chance. Like, I want everybody to know. I was really looking forward to this. Like, I want everybody to know that I was looking forward to this because, it's a Ghibli. Everybody knows foundationally that the animation is going to be great. The story, I've already read the books. I thought this was going to be fantastic. What an adventure. The two merging together is like a match made in heaven. And it turned out to be like a stink bomb to me.
do you want to hear something funny? Yeah, my little nephew couldn't even sit through this. He just walked away because it was so boring. So you know what I say? Let's wrap this up because I think we kind of said everything to say. So I wanna hear your rating for this and your reasonings behind your rating. What would you give this?
For me, I'm giving it a not feeling this.
Ouch.
And that is purely because it's not a good adaptation of the book. And the reason why people might say, well, it's an adaptation and you can't take it that seriously, from the fact that they put Arrietty based on the borrowers means that I can compare it.
True, and they're selling it to you that way.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
But you know what? For argument's sake, which I don't think you're going to have a much different opinion, even if you had to judge it without it being based on Arrietty, if it was standalone, do you think you would like it any more anyway?
I'd be just as annoyed because it was extremely boring to me.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? I would give it, if I was just basing it on it not being just Arrietty and nothing to do with the borrowers and nothing like that, yeah, I probably would give it an acquired taste because if you've got maybe if it's a really nice Sunday afternoon, I don't know, and you're bored and you really ain't got nothing to do and you just want to smell the flowers, you can just slip this in and just watch it and daze off. Or maybe if you're high, if you're smoking something, and you want to, maybe you'll find another dimension that may be interesting. But personally, I just found it extremely boring, extremely mundane, and just lackluster. I just didn't feel any sense of adventure, any sense of joy. I kind of came out feeling depressed in a sense because I felt, thank God I ain't a little person. Do you know what I mean? But when I watched something like, and I am going to say it again, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I was like, damn, when I was a kid, I was like, damn, what would it be like if I shrunk and I ran through the garden? I didn't feel anything except for I'm bored and thank God I'm not little so people can mistreat me. That's all I felt. So not feeling this for me.
The thing with this, I want to give it a watchable, but the problem is it's so boring. And when I finished the anime, I came away from it feeling I got nothing. People could turn around and say, "Oh, the animation was so beautiful." To me, the animation was standard Studio Ghibli, and I'm not saying I expect it to be of a high caliber, but when I was watching it, I was like, "Yeah, it's nice, it's nice looking." What else is there? Because I can watch another Ghibli. I can re-watch Spirited Away if I want to watch good animation. I don't mind re-watching it. So show me something different. And the storyline was terrible. It was badly written. Characters were badly developed. But I guess it wasn't god awful. So because of that, and because I know that as a fanboy for Studio Ghibli, I'm not a fanboy of Studio Ghibli, but I'm just saying, I just have to give it an acquired taste. I can't say it's not feeling this because, I guess I kind of liked it a bit, but I just have to go with acquired taste, man. It's one of those things that I don't see myself. Yeah, it's like I don't feel like this today. I don't feel like this kind of anime.
You feel like it though. That's what I want to know. When?
And one thing you revealed to me that I realize now, it's too melancholy. It's not dark, but you don't come away feeling anything good. You come away feeling, somewhat depressed.
Yeah.
And if you have a good story behind that, that's fine, or a message. But there's no message here. There's no good story here. There's just a bad feeling and disappointment. And the way I'm talking, I want to give it a not feeling this, but I'm gonna stick to a quiet taste. And people, if you ain't watched anime before, I'm sure you'll just be sucked in, because you're used to seeing Pixar, you're used to seeing Disney stuff, 3D stuff. So when you see this, it is high quality animation in comparison to that. Fair enough, but
I think those people need to watch more Studio. Pardon me. I think those people need to watch more Studio Ghibli stuff then, because it's not any different, as you say, from any other Studio Ghibli. Even Earthsea, I'm not even gonna. The animation was not bad.
Tales of Earthsea, to Hayao Miyazaki's son failure of anime.
Yeah, but the animation was not bad. Do you see what I mean? The animation was not the problem, And I just feel like, you can't. People should just take anime for what it is and not just for what the name, who's backing it,
And lastly, yeah, you're right, because Disney, I've got two last things to say about this. Disney have the same problem. You see, anything Disney makes, whether it's good or bad, people will buy it anyway. And a good example of that is Cars 2. It still made a lot of money, but everyone agrees it's a shit film.
I couldn't even watch that, man. Come on. Did you watch it?
And the same thing with this. No, don't bring that up.
Sorry.
I think the best scenario to watch this is Christmas. You want an anime that doesn't take your attention at all, but it's kind of good to look at, and you can conversate over it. That's Arrietty.
What is that, after like a big dinner, like after Christmas dinner?
You want to fall asleep and wake up and see something, and that's it. And that's Arrietty.
If you want to put the kids to sleep, then put that on. Even though I think they might walk out, I know.
We all got different opinions, people, and I think it's interesting that everyone think it's hailing it is that great. I just think it's really interesting that it came out in 2010 and nobody, I never heard of this anime until it got its US theatrical release. Nobody was talking about this anime until it came out over here. And, you should really ask yourself, just based on that, is it that great? 2 years.
It's true, 2 years.
2 years, this was not even mentioned, and now all of a sudden it's being mentioned everywhere.
And I didn't watch it until I saw an advert on it, and I thought, oh, okay, I actually thought, I missed something. I was like, I missed something. Oh, okay, let me just get that and see if that's good. And I realized I really didn't miss anything.
There you go. So anyway, people, we know you loved it. We know most of you listening to this are probably like, yeah, you guys, one loves the book and one is just some jaded anime lover.
One is just a bookworm. It's not about the book, it's about the anime.
Yeah, just judge it by itself. What are you being so stingy for? It's great. I love it.
Yeah, what do you like? What do you like, you guys? You hate everything.
It's interesting, all right? And this shit is dull as dumb.
I'd rather watch paint dry. I can't believe your nephew walked out. That's funny.
Yeah. He's got good taste. We're definitely related.